Hi, I'm Randy Peterson, and this is my mill. Today we're going to take this big old cedar log right here, and we are going to turn that cedar log into a bunch of lap siding, which will look like, I have to add that now, this. The first thing I do is kind of map out where I'm going to get the lap siding out of it. So the big box you see right here, that's the block that the lap siding is going to come out of. The little plus in the middle there is the pith of the tree, so I don't want to take lap siding out of that. There will be a 1-inch thick board that's a 1/2 inch above and below that plus. So first thing will be to take basically this whole piece off the top. Unfortunately, this log, you can see right here, has about 3/4 to 1 inch of bad wood all the way around the outside of it. So we're going to try and stay out of that when we actually do the lap siding. This end is a lot thicker, so there'll be some shorter pieces of lap siding on this end, but we'll do that. We'll cut that out of the piece we slab off the top of this. So I mentioned the pith on this side and where the plus is. The thing I didn't say was it's very important that the pith is horizontal through the log. So you can see down here I've got this end of the log brought up quite a bit to get the pith the same on this end as it is on this end. And once again, there's my little plus right where the pith is. This has got a pretty fat buttress on the bottom, so there's going to be a lot of wasted wood up in that neck of the woods. Ouch! Did you hear that horrible squeak at the end of that last clip? Let's listen to that again. That is the sound of a bearing going out. In this case, it happens to be on the following wheel. That is the non-driven wheel that the bandsaw blade rides on. I ordered new ones the day after I shot this. I really need to apologize for the sound on this video. My mic is clipped to my shirt, which is great if I am just talking, but when I am cutting, it is making all sorts of strange noises. It should be next to my camera at this point. Here I am rotating the log to the second face of the cant. Okay, so I've rotated the log, and I'm going to take 3 1-inch slabs off this side to use for other things to get it down to where the side of my block is for the lap siding. This being the second face of this log, I also shimmed up the near end to keep the pith horizontal through the length of the log. This is some pretty wood. Oh, got my shadow. Let's see if I can stay behind my shadow. So you probably saw me with the dust mask, the ear protection, the eye protection. So the cedar dust is pretty bad. So I don't really want to breathe any of that. So that's why the dust mask and eyes and ears, that's just common sense. I'm on the third face of my cant now, and I'm taking off 1-inch slabs to get it down to the 7.5 inches of width that I need for the lap siding. Okay, so we're now ready to start making the lap siding. So there is my blank. It's 7.5 inches wide by however tall it is. I don't recall what that number is. So to make lap siding, that means I have to cut that on an angle for every other cut. And to get that angle, you could go out and spend $500, $600, $700 on a part from Woodland Mills that you can put on the head of your mill that allows you to tilt it. Or you could make a little shim block like this. I make 2 of them. My lap siding is 3/4 of an inch on the big end and 5/16 on the thin end. So that block, the thickness of the block, is a difference between those 2 numbers, which happens to be 11/16. And I have the stops on it, so I can only put it in so far. That way I can repeat the cut over and over. So let's go ahead and put that in. Okay, let's see if I can lift this enough to do it. I bet I can. Okay, so that now puts my blank on an angle. Next thing is to set the head down so that I get the cut that I want. And I do all mine by revolutions on the handle. So shim in, down 1 full revolution plus 6 clicks. That's next. And so I'm not going to go through all these. The one after that, I guess, will be shim out, down 2 revolutions plus 7 clicks. And I'll just keep repeating that over and over and over until I get just above the pith. Get the flat cut just above the pith, then I'll turn this thing over and start from the other side. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are now down to just above the pith. Look here on the end. Here's the center of the pith right there. So I'm about a 1/2 inch below it on that end. And maybe slightly, maybe 3/8 on this end. So we weren't quite lined up, but we're pretty close. So next thing is we're going to rotate this 180 degrees so that this surface will be the bottom surface. And then we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Okay, so she's turned over now. And now we're going to do the same thing, but on the other side. Till we get down to the last 1 inch of wood. And that 1 inch is going to contain the pith. You might have noticed that I've also moved the cant this way quite a ways. So now the far end of the cant is right up next to a log stop, and this end of the cant is actually hanging out past the log stop quite a ways. Well, the reason I do this is because the cant is not clamped in place. It's just held in place by gravity. And if I have too much sticking out, then the saw will move the cant around. You will also see me holding the cant as I approach the near log stop. This is also to keep the cant from moving around the stop due to blade pressure. Let's go over the sequence of steps that I use when I'm doing a project like this. Once I've cleared the wood away, I'll go back to the power head and I'll put it up 1 revolution. And I do this so that when I pull the power head back to the starting of the log, I'm not dragging the blade across that face of the wood. Once I get the power head back to the start, I will drop it that same 1 revolution so it is back to where I finished the last cut. Next, the shims go in. I drop the power head 1 revolution plus 6. When I am doing this, I like to go down past my cut level and then bring it back up to it. Next, I will make my cut. Up 1. Down 1. Remove shims. Down 2 plus 7. Make my cut. Up 1. Down 1. Shims in. Down 1 plus 6. Make my cut. So that's a couple of times through my cycle. You can kind of get the idea of how I'm doing it now. So here's what we got out of that log. There's 20 pieces of siding there that are, what is that, 8-9 feet long. I still have this piece to cut, but that's not going to yield very much. Most of that's going to be scrap. Okay, next thing, we're going to load this log on, do the same thing. Another cedar log, not quite as big as the last one. Going to put it on with this little tiny boat winch over here. It's a 600-pound boat winch, but it's really way more than I need to wheel this up these ramps. Okay, now she's up. Next thing, let's get her level. I'm not going to show you as much on this log because you saw it all in the last log, but we'll kind of skim through it a little bit. to take right here from that log. Looks like I got 16 pieces of siding. Pile in the middle is left over from the first log. And these are all the slabs I took out of that second log. Okay, now we got to put it in the pre-dryer for the kiln. The kiln is right behind all that. That is 2 logs worth of cedar that I cut today. All stickered. So it can start drying. And another 6 weeks or so I will take it out of this and put it in the kiln that's behind it. And I guess we can go look at that here a little bit. Kiln is behind it. It's a solar kiln. Currently it's 114 degrees in that said kiln. And that 114 degrees is completely done via the sun. There's no heater in there. While I was cutting, I mentioned that I thought I had a bearing going out on my following wheel. And that's true, I do have one that's going out on that wheel. But I just thought I'd show you where it is. It's actually not on here right now. I took it off already. I'll take you in and show you that in a second. So the wheel over here is a drive wheel. It's connected to the engine. The wheel that would be right there is the one that I lost the bearing in. So let's go in and we'll take a peek at that bearing. So here is that wheel, the following wheel. Big old cast iron thing. I don't know, I think probably weighs 30 pounds. Anyhow, it's got 2 bearings. It's got this one right here. This is the one that's on the outside. That one, it feels pretty good. Backside there's another bearing. There's a lot of slop in that one. So that's our bad bearing right there. I've got the new ones on order. We'll see how soon they get here. What I may end up doing is pulling, that's a sealed bearing, I may pull the seal off of it and just lube the heck out of it if I need to use this a little bit more. And just keep doing that. It's pretty easy to get this wheel on and off. So that's what that is. The other thing I didn't do when I was shooting this a couple of days ago was I forgot to put an ending clip in. So that's what this is right here. I had a good time cutting this wood. I'm in the middle of editing this video now. That's a lot of fun too, actually. And so until the next one, you guys take care and happy cutting. Bye-bye.